Welcome to episode 7 of the Tailgate Update. Let's crack open the cold one, shall we? First off, Sean O'Malley knocked out Aljamain Sterling. Round is now the Bantam champion. What are your thoughts, Ryan and Julie?
It was a great right hook.
Slept him, hit the butt.
He landed like face first into the ground.
Ate the canvas.
Yeah, which is a truly beautiful finish for not for him, but for O'Malley. It looked great.
So if you guys want to see the fight, it is like UFC wasted absolutely no time putting it up on YouTube for everybody to see. Like I've never seen them post something so quick. So it sounds like they're trying to attach a rocket ship to O'Malley's back, and they're going to go ahead and ride that thing to the moon. I think he's kind of like the most polarizing figure that the UFC's had in a good while, probably since John Jones broke. So pretty cool to see. Dude has a mouth on him, so it's good that he kind of backs it up. Little Nate Diaz in him, but
what about McGregor, man?
Yeah, everybody's comparing him to McGregor. Is that because they're both white Irishmen? I'm not sure, but it might also be because they're both controversial UFC guys. Hard to tell.
They know how to jack their flaps for sure.
That's what I was going for.
Yeah. Wander Franco.
Oh, Wander Franco.
Big news of the week in baseball.
It's huge news. It's a horrible story, actually.
Oh.
He's placed on the restricted list after allegations of an inappropriate relationship with a minor in the Dominican Republic. A person very close to the investigation was quoted as saying, "It will be very unlikely that Wander Franco will play in MLB again, judging by results of investigations being carried out, which commit him directly to the accusations against him." Hector Gomez.
Brutal on several levels. Baseball level, Rays just lost out on really one of the biggest prodigies the game has had in a while. Secondly, the young guy completely screwing up his life. And then thirdly, the deepest cut is obviously these young ladies being taken advantage of at a very young age.
Was it more than one or just one?
Yeah.
I think it was one.
One in the DR for sure.
Got it. Still opening, still investigating.
There may be another one as well here stateside. Again, everything allegedly, but
Allegedly. Yeah.
I'll see.
It comes as a huge blow to the Rays, actually. They just lost one of their pitchers.
Yeah.
Among others, down the stretch to the division championship. He was hitting 281 with 17 bombs, 58 RBIs, 30 stolen bases, and he just came off an all-star appearance.
Yep.
Threw it all away.
Did he participate in the home run derby? No, that was just Julio Rodriguez, I think, wasn't it?
I think so.
Yeah, I'm getting the two mixed up, but yeah, crazy. Something like you just don't even think about what happened, but really unfortunate.
So it's a really good. I mean, in society, it happens more often than we think, and it's a really good thing to bring awareness to it and be so decisive in their decision making. So great for that. Great that baseball is taking it as seriously as it deserves, and hopefully this can help. At least those girls will get help, and maybe people will keep more of an eye out for this kind of stuff.
Yeah, definitely sounds like they're going to use him as an example, which they should, 100%.
Absolutely.
Another unfortunate thing this season, way less serious, the New York Yankees. Completely dreadful team. You can talk about a bunch of slow muscle heads that really just Garrett Cole like everything he can to keep him afloat. But the Yankees now are under 500 for the first time in over 30 years after the 120 game mark. they've trailed in more innings in the second half than any other team has. 4-13 in August, and they're currently losing as I watch. Oh, they just tied the game. Just kidding. But they were 10-15 in July, so that totals for 14-28 since July 1st. 8 games out of the wild card, looking to possibly be missing the postseason again. Especially with the Mariners and Red Sox are just scalding hot right now. So I don't think that they're going to be able to turn this thing on. Tim Anderson, had a fun little chat about him last week. Got his suspension reduced from 6 to 5.
Ooh, one game.
That's a big game. You know, White Sox might not finish in last place now. So they just, I mean, like another week of just awfulness from them. They got walked off by the Cubs on Wednesday, and then they lost the first 2 games of their series with the Rockies, 25-6 combined score.
Tell us how you really feel, Caleb.
To it has 44 wins. Like, that's just insane. Yeah, they just blow. They should have just sold everybody. They should have just blown that thing completely up. You hate to see it. Let's just say that. Just absolutely hate to see it. Sorry, White Sox fans. AAA teams do not belong in the major leagues. Okay, just putting that out there.
You know, Caleb, we could really make like a compilation of you just roasting Jordan Love, Chicago White Sox, and Green Bay in general.
And the Yankees.
And the Yankees. Like, my goodness. Oh, and we can also add Tommy Pham to that one. I saw that interaction on Twitter. That was good. I wanted to chime in, but I was like, Caleb said it all.
Always into something. Always.
Yeah.
Back up former teammates over fantasy football. I mean, dude, you name it. The guy's always in an argument with somebody. Like, get out of your feelings, okay? It's not that deep. Just play.
He's always
baseball.
a victim. He's always a victim.
Always a victim.
First it was
piece of shit, boo-hoo. Like,
yeah. First it was the Cardinals held him back and didn't call him up early enough, so his prime was wasted in St. Louis.
Yep, it sure was, wasn't it?
Yeah. And then he didn't like the rules of fantasy football, so he slapped the guy around. Now somebody called him a piece of shit. Here we go.
Yeah. 32 years old, and what, he's on his 5th team now already? Or like, that's
I saw somebody try to justify that and say, he's a valuable trade piece.
To
whom? A service dog? For those who don't know, he's actually almost blind. So
he's almost blind?
Yeah, unless he just got surgery to.
How do you play baseball almost blind? I feel like that's impossible.
He's like basically legally blind out of one eye, I think.
There's a tax break for that.
My respect a little bit for him. Being able to play baseball half blind, I mean, that's damn good. That's impressive. I can't hit a baseball to save my life, and I'm not blind at all. So.
Well, that's what contacts are for.
No, that's true.
Well, he better get better contacts then.
I feel like LASIK fixes that, right? Like,
I heard he got surgery a couple years ago to kind of.
It really depends on exactly what, because it only solves like certain things and only to certain powers. So if you're like too blind, then you can't get it. If you have certain, I believe it fixes like some nearsighted but not farsighted or vice versa. So like it'll only fix like some things, and if he's already legally blind, it might be too far gone, like me, to get something like LASIK. So it kind of depends.
Maybe he'd have better luck playing football. I don't know. That
maybe.
Up, or maybe just one of those fake tough guys that wants to fight everybody behind a net.
Maybe he needs to play hockey.
Yes. There we go. We got his career plan figured out for him. Let's let him know.
He'll pick it up. We'll switch gears a little bit. Football, height of preseason. Week 2 wraps up today, I believe. Colts officially named Anthony Richardson their starting quarterback. I don't know.
Not much competition to go through.
Better than Linger. Like, being realistic. They also decided not to play him last night, though, which I thought was very weird. Dude's only got, a baker's dozen worth of starts under his belt, and you don't play him in the preseason leading up to his first year of professional ball. Seems kind of odd to me, but they did just have a joint practice week with the Bears. So Fields didn't play. A lot of players didn't play for the Bears. So I don't know if they're like just kind of protecting these guys in case emotions boil over or whatever. As you know, there's a lot of fight during these joint practices. So who knows?
Yeah. Just had one last week.
Jonathan Taylor back with the team apparently. Still on the pup list, but he did join the team. Gotta say, listening to Jim Irsay on the broadcast was mind atrocious. I cannot fathom or legitimately wanting to play for the Indianapolis Colts as long as that guy's team.
I imagine he'll end up on my true crime segment for something, and it's not for being the owner of a team.
Probably for his billion DUIs he's had. The dude is just like he's out of his brain. Like I don't even understand. It's just I don't know. I digress before I get too deep into it. I've had a couple other guys sign this week though. Zeke Cats. So what'd you say earlier, Ryan? He'd be eating up some clam chowder.
Oh yeah, he's gonna enjoy himself. Feed Zeke, feed him some clam chowder.
No more cereal. We're eating clam chowder now.
Yep.
Dalvin Cook, like we all thought, going to the Jets. That running is insane. Michael Carter, Breece Hall, and now Dalvin Cook. Rodgers got a lot of weapons, man. A lot of weapons. And then Jadeveon Clowney, kind of the last big pass rusher to sign. He's going to Baltimore.
I don't even consider Clowney a big move anymore.
He's not. His name is kind of big, but
his name is what gets him the hype of any signing he's ever going to have. He never delivers on contracts.
Well, I mean, his one hit was what got him to where he was. I listened to Daryl basically calling him a terrible player before he ever came out of college, and he's pretty much been correct. I mean, he's had like one or two really good years, and the rest has been very mundane, very middle of the road.
I can't believe he stayed in the league as long as he has with as many injuries he's had.
That's why.
He's a bum
on the field.
Yeah, like not enough tape out there for Clowney to be. So moving on, preseason. Rookies kind of balling out.
Mm-hmm.
With there only being 3 weeks of preseason games now, and the roster cut down isn't gradual anymore. It's straight from 90 to 53 after the last preseason game. Gives these guys runway, I think, in a lot of ways. Kind of forces teams to play them. Which is probably why you see a lot of starters not play. But Jackson Smith and Jigba, absolute problem. They might have the best room. Not even joking. Between DK being a physical freak, Tyler Lockett can take the top off of defense, and JSN, who's just a route tactician. He's fast as hell. He's a problem.
Yeah, you don't gotta tell me that twice.
Yeah.
Our team is looking good.
Yeah. Stetson Bennett's looked pretty good in his two performances.
That's looked really good. Rams might have found a little diamond in the rough there. Not even really a diamond in the rough. I think it's just somebody that they're willing to take a shot on, and I think it might.
Well, even though he's 25, he'll probably be 27 by the time he gets to be able to be a starter in the league. And sitting behind Stafford for 2 years won't be too bad for him.
Isn't a Stetson like a hat or like the brand of a hat?
Maybe.
I'm almost certain.
Sounds like a cowboy boot, to be honest.
Yeah, it's something like that. And so that's what it always reminds me of every time. I'm like, why did they name this man after a hat? Yeah, it's a brand of hat. So
gotcha. Okay.
And it is like an old Western kind of style. So I just have that question possibly for like Mr. and Mrs. Bennett. Where? where did you find the inspiration to name your son after a hat?
It's an old Western hat. They're thinking he's going to be a gunslinger.
Maybe, which he kind of is.
He kind of is, yeah. But Trey Tomlinson's looking pretty good in the defensive backfield for the Rams.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I've seen some pretty good highlights out of Trey. Working on the outside. I didn't think he'd work on the outside with his size, and we went over that last week, but
Didn't
still pretty
either.
good.
But I watched him have a couple pass breakups last week, and I was like, all right, maybe he can ball a little bit. Maybe I was wrong.
Yeah.
Maybe I was just bitter.
Bitter. Oh, that he. Oh, okay. I
Yeah.
forgot about the award he won that you thought he shouldn't.
He should.
Can't
Deuce
take it
Vaughn,
back now.
Yeah, Deuce Vaughn, who's like basically the same size as me.
yeah, looks like a little toddler out there running away from his parents. Just took something he wasn't supposed to, but he might be a formidable backup at least in the league.
My goodness.
Tony Pollard and him might end up being a 1-2 punch. So
He had a
Dallas
beautiful
got their pick.
last night. I'm not obviously I'm a Seahawks fan, but I still enjoyed seeing Deuce Vaughn do it.
Yeah. Well, you guys got your own running back stable as well. I mean,
Yeah.
Zach Stroud, 3 carries, 31 yards. I mean, I think 29 of it came on one, but it's a really good run. So lots to be impressed with. Running
5
back.
inches shorter, it'd be just as good, you know.
What's that?
If he's 5 inches shorter, it'd be just as good.
You're right.
Or better. It makes it better, okay, when they're like tiny.
Do you think that all these like vet running backs just like they're probably happy for the young guys, but they're probably also like, damn, like this is why we aren't getting paid what we should be getting paid. All these guys coming in here and just immediately impacting the game. I mean, Roshan Johnson for the Bears. I mean, he's like a 4th round pick, and he's just running guys over. So
Yes, but at the same time, like there is a short time frame for like how long you can do that for. So obviously, I know some of the old heads are going to be disappointed, but you do need a constant flow because that kind of damage you can only sustain that kind for so long, and often running backs get a little bit more careful after a couple of years because they don't have the same sort of mentality. So I think a necessary evil, and the Seahawks have always been super open about their use of running backs and like have utilized them really, really heavily. So there's always going to be room in our roster for multiple because it's a definitely a heavily utilized position, at least for us. So
yeah. Well, definitely as the season goes on, it definitely will help out those guys in the legs, keeping them fresh, rotate them in for 15 carries a game as opposed to 30.
yeah,
So-
ours get beat up pretty bad, so we need a couple.
Yeah. Another rookie last night, Patriots Packers game. Isaiah Bolden caught a little friendly fire last night. Looked like a fairly regular play, and I don't know if it knocked him out or just tweaked his neck, but he instantly hit the turf and was done. Ended up getting carted off on the stretcher. Stayed the night in the hospital, but per the New England Patriots, he was released from the hospital this morning and has joined the team. They're flying back today, and they've also canceled their joint practices with the Tennessee Titans this week as well that were scheduled for Tuesday and Thursday, I believe. So
and they ended the game right after the injury, which was notable. Many people are kind of singing Belichick's praises for being uncharacteristically sensitive for him.
Yeah, obviously much easier to do. It's a preseason game as opposed to a game in a playoff race that would have directly affected, don't like to think of it that way, but what's going on the field. Like there's a reason those guys are out there, but it was very good to see them just kind of quickly call it. Let's just, it was a long week for them. They had their joint practice as well. So I think there's a lot of emotion already going into the game, and then you throw that on top of it. And I think it's probably best for everybody that they go ahead and pull the plug on it. and great that he's out of the hospital now. So
Our thoughts are with Golden and his family and hope for a speedy recovery. Yeah.
yeah, sounds like he's on his way. Hopefully it's just like a stinger or just like quick knockout. Maybe he'll be in concussion protocol for the next couple weeks or so, but hopefully we'll see him back out there again sooner than later. And that's it for our six pack, guys. I think we'll go ahead and run this thing into the true crime segment by own Julie Miller.
Yeah, which is actually quite extended this week because NFL has been hamming it up in addition to baseball. But Ryan actually has a contribution to my segment this week.
Yeah, I do. I actually have something to contribute to the true crime segment this week.
What you got, Ryan?
I have the Michael Orr issues. This is ridiculous. I can't believe this is actually happening now. Michael Orr, former offensive lineman, he claims that the Tuohys deceived him into signing a conservatorship by saying they would legally adopt him in doing so. It sounds awful. Court records show the conservatorship goes back to August 2004, which is 3 months after Michael's 18th birthday. Sean Tuohy and his attorney states the document was a means of protection for Orr to attend Ole Miss, which is the couple's Sean and Leanne Tuohy's alma mater, and it would make him part of the family. Orr is seeking back pay for any money the family may have earned through conservatorship, mostly through life rights agreement and contract for the Blindside movie. And now, because of all of this, people are calling for Sandra Bullock to give back her Oscar she won for her role as playing Leanne Tuohy. That whole thing is absolutely ridiculous. Just
her biggest
is
having to play the role anyway, because what a tool of a family in general. But let's just leave it there. Let's let her keep her Oscar because she had to lower her acting abilities to play a woman like that.
Yeah, well, I don't think back then. So the movie was based off a book. I can't remember who the author is, but like
him.
What is that? Why would you not do your homework on that family as a whole?
It was based on Michael's life. The book was.
Yeah, and I know that whenever they turn a book into a movie, they always add some dramatics to make it more sensational, of course.
Yeah.
But yeah, and why did they do the Blind Side when he was in college? Because he's not allowed due to NCAA rules to even get the money anyway at that point in time. So why didn't they wait till he was already in the NFL? What was the rush there? Which I think was a really interesting point. How come if they had cuts going to both parents and the kids? I think part of the reason why they kind of swept this under the rug is because there was a little bit of stuff going on with with Ole Miss, and so maybe they didn't want to. They were trying to kind of keep that under wraps because a lot of his finagling was so that he could go to their school.
Well, it sounded like recently came out I want to say Thursday, a report stating that he tried to extort them for $15 million.
Yeah, and he said he would plan a story in the media if they didn't give him the money he was asking for.
And this is me I'm just asking a question: does this kind of sound like somebody that may have lost his NFL money somehow, some way, and is now trying desperately to get something back?
I hear you, but they've been so shady all along that I have no trouble believing that they would have finagled things so that it was not in his favor. And with between the Ole Miss, the way they had him sign away his life rights, how they had the money go to the parents and the two children and not him, like they're a shady couple. So and the way that they portrayed themselves is so far from the actual truth. And then continue to use his name for like her like foundation or fundraising or whatever, and continuing to exaggerate what was not at all the case. They're shady as hell. So am I calling him into question at this point? No, not until we have real evidence, but we have reason to believe that they're shady. We just have some speculation about why he might be, but at the same time, why wouldn't they want to start a smear rumors about him, because they're not going to try to go down easy. So it's really it's kind of hard to tell at this point, but I'm definitely on his side in the situation because most of this happened when he was a child, and then obviously heading into 18, very young, vulnerable. The Tootie family were, already independently rich, had a lot of, life experience and things like that. So for the things that happened back then, I generally am more sympathetic to his situation. And until I have real evidence that they're anything but shady people, that's where I'm at.
I hear you there, Billy.
What else we got for the true crime?
Yeah. So, real wild out in these streets this week. So we got first up Robert Quinn, the defensive end free agent. He's played for several different teams. He was arrested on Friday for a third-degree assault and battery, hit and run of an attended vehicle, 4 counts of hit and run property damage, and striking fixtures adjacent to a highway, which I'm sure is some like technicality, but it seems like he hit a gate. So that's what that means. I think. So on 7 p.m. on Tuesday, the South Carolina, well, we found out about this on Friday, but this happened on Tuesday. At a South Carolina residential neighborhood, allegedly, Robert rammed a pickup truck. He hit a pickup truck into 4 other vehicles, and then smacked a woman across the face, I guess, during the conflict afterwards. Then he fled the scene and was identified via video footage. So he's out independently causing 5 car accidents and beating up 6 cars in the process, and then allegedly smacking someone. So he's currently pending charges on that. Saints tight end Jimmy Graham was taken into custody Friday night in Los Angeles. They were there ahead of time for the Chargers game. He was arrested on suspicion of being under the influence. There was calls that a person was erratic and wandering around the neighborhood, and he attempted to flee from security. It's not clear security for what. Prior to egress, and he had allegedly experienced a medical episode that created disorientation, and he was brought to the local hospital for evaluation. The team doctor suggested it was a seizure, and the hospital has since released Graham, and he has rejoined the team, although we don't know if he'll be playing or if the game will even happen because of the hurricane. So there's that.
Goodness.
Yes.
So both those guys are former Bears players. Actually, Quinn holds the Bears single season sack record at like 18 and a half sacks or something.
Well, that explains all of it.
Because he's like, when he was with Chicago, he was a super just laid back, like chill dude. So I don't know what's going on with that. And then Graham sounds like it's just a,
It's a little severe. It totally happens. I would be disoriented. I mean, I would be worried too if I saw someone like wandering around and looking really confused and things like that. So I can understand why like the police got called in, but it seems like he's already back on the mend. So grateful. Yeah. So Jamar Chase has been dealing with some maybe baby mama drama with Amber Hunter since July of 2021. So right now he says he wants his one night stand to stop harassing him, and he wants a restraining order. So that's the newest demand from him. So they connected via Insta, and they slept together one night back in July. And Hunter since has alleged that Chase fathered her child, left her alone in a hotel while pregnant for 4 days, was physically violent against her, and that he doesn't like showering. Chase alleges that Hunter harassed him and his mother because she wants a relationship, and she will not comply with multiple requests for DNA testing of the child that he's asked for. Hunter has apparently reached out to multiple law enforcement agencies, but none have found her claims credible in terms of like filing anything. And so this news broke on Wednesday that a restraining order could be in the works. And all I have to say to Jamar Chase is, you're famous now, and there's a lot of crazy girls out there. So I'm gonna need you to, no glove, no love, apparently, because this ain't gonna work. So little drama there.
I like how she threw in that he doesn't like to shower.
Yes, you're right.
That's crazy.
A low blow.
A low and funny blow, and not a great trait for a football player, but all alleged. So we'll have to have someone else jump in on that one. And probably the biggest news this week was that I'm sure everyone heard of when Antonio Armstrong Jr. murdered his parents. The former NFL star Antonio Armstrong Sr. and his wife Dawn, back in 2016. And he has been in trial for over 7 years. So he's 23 now. It happened when he was 16. And the first two resulted in a hung jury. So this is the first one that finally had an actual verdict. So he received a life sentence in prison with the possibility of parole after 40 years on Thursday. My guess is, because Texas is hardly a kind state when it comes to handling crime, that his age probably factored into how graceful that and forgiving that time was, and not like a death sentence, for example. He had no emotional response when he was told, and his wife and the mother of his child, Kate, she cried a lot, and many family members still back him up and believe in his innocence. So a little refresher on the whole thing. Both parents were shot in the head while they were sleeping in July of 2016. The weapon was the dad's gun. Antonio Jr. called the police at 1:40 a.m. saying he heard gunshots in his parents' bedroom, and he was heard muttering, "It's all my fault," during the call. Police arrived, and the alarm had to be turned off by Junior before they could come in because it was still set because no one had come in or out. Antonio Sr. was still alive, but not for long. He went to the hospital, but they found a note next to the murder weapon downstairs that said, "I have been watching you for a long time. Come get me." And Antonio described a masked intruder. So trying to cover his tracks, going really poorly, but also 16. So, but I mean, really, watch your shows, man. So days leading up to the murder, he was kind of wilding out. A week before the murder, he shot a pillow and blanket in his bedroom, and he covered the lodged bullet in the floor with socks, and then he lit a fire outside his parents' bedroom 2 days before. And he also Googled searches on how to build a car bomb in his iPad in that period of time. Things were not looking good because cell phone records show he had been moving around the house for 31 minutes prior to calling the cops, and only he and his sister were home, and she's 12, and nobody really ever thought it was her. So kind of diving into the family dynamics, like I do love to do. Anthony Jr. was flunking out of private school and allegedly using substances, and the mother in particular was very verbal with him about her disappointment in him, and which I guess the scolding didn't go well. And the older brother, Josh, was also struggling. He smoked weed a lot, which I guess matters in this family. And dropped out of college. He moved back home and wasn't taking care of himself. Apparently, he was talking to himself. And he got kicked out of the home after having a party at his parents' house. And there's a super unhealthy dynamic between Josh and Dawn. She would like vent her frustration to him and lean on him for like emotional support, like a very codependent relationship, which is gross. So anyway, he was turning things around right before the murder. He was working at the family gym, taking college classes again. He lived in an apartment his mother found and paid for with his girlfriend. So that's kind of the situation we are dealing with. Everybody flunking out of school, some emotional turmoil going on. So allegedly at the time, Junior here had a diagnosis of paranoia and schizophrenia when he was hospitalized after the death. I will note that he was diagnosed with this after his parents' death. And he proposed an alternate, or his legal counsel did, alternate defense that Josh did it, despite being at his apartment that night. Apparently he somehow got into the house and committed the crime, even though there was no evidence based on the alarm system. And when he got the call that his parents got shot, his girlfriend said he grabbed his shotgun and ran to the home. According to his girlfriend, Josh didn't have a mental health history prior, but he spiraled afterwards. Paranoid he was next. He made a list of potential killers, listing his girlfriend too. So they were trying to say that he was spiraling mentally afterwards because he had done it. So he was like sort of unraveling, so to speak. He was voluntarily admitted to a facility in 2016 in December, and treated for depression, paranoia brought on by the PTSD and trauma from his parents' death. And he was been in and out of facilities since. In 2018, he was psychotic and schizophrenic, and now he's disappeared, and no one knows where he is. So there's that. No, according to family, and the jury didn't buy it. In fact, they considered a really low blow that he would like call out his brother just because he was in a vulnerable place mentally. And the younger sister, Kyra, is 19, fully functional and going to LSU. So one of them pulled it together. So that was wild. I'm sure we've all heard the story of Anthony Jr., but it was not clear like exactly what was going to happen after 2 hung jury trials. So he finally got his got an actual verdict and will be in prison probably. I'm going on a limb here and saying that's 100% where he should be, and to blame his brother is atrocious. And yeah. I'm not sure. It sounds like the family dynamics are off. Some weird stuff going on there, but nothing obvious that would indicate like a Menendez brothers situation where they alleged those things about their father. That made a lot more sense to me. But they say when 2 kids do it, it's the parents. When 1 kid does it, it's a bad seed. So that's what I'm aiming for here. And really unfortunate that 2 people had to lose their life to such a clown. But here we are. And now he's locked up. So with his supposed mental health diagnoses, which we didn't ever see again after they didn't try like not guilty by reason of insanity as far as I know. Maybe they just alleged it was Josh. But anyway, so yeah, he's a smarmy dude who went for every single kind of back alleyway to try to get out of culpability for it. So gross. Yeah, so a little justice was served, and the football world is hamming it up. So we'll have to see what they bring next week.
Good for football. Always making sure they're top of the headlines.
Got enough crime in their roster. Yep.
Well, the last week in sports has been absolutely insane with all these scandals and stories coming out. It's just one right after another.
I was telling Julie, I was like, man, I really like. I know there's a lot going on, but I can't remember anything that's going on. And then like the Franco and and I'm like, wow, it's been a long week. It's been like such a long week. It felt like a couple weeks.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, we had
all run
I
together.
I had at least 2 stories by Wednesday. It was
People are making our livelihood happen.
yeah, they're really helping us.
Very easy.
Really, really helping us out.
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
As terrible as those people are, we thank you.
right. And don't be a terrible person and like and subscribe to our channel and this video.
Yeah.
Set yourself apart from the scrum and make sure to do that. And that is this week of Tailgate Update.
See you guys. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to. Oh wait, it's not morning anymore, is it?
Doesn't matter. Oh, hi, buddy.
Piece of shit, boo hoo.